Hi, everyone. It's Renee Williams back once again. It's on Friday. Thank God, the God of my understanding, have allowed us to see another almost end of a week. Black history is almost gone. One more day, and we made it. You know, we're talking about addiction. Addiction is real. It have changed people's lives. And somehow, once we figured it out and did something about it, we could see the change. Let us give my God of understanding his crops. God, I thank you for delivering us off drugs and alcohol, all the stuff that comes with addiction. Thank you for us figuring it out and doing something about it. I thank you for allowing us to start believing in ourselves. I thank the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. I thank the AA, I thank the AA. I thank the CA. And I thank the NA. I thank you, God. I thank you for everything that you have done. I thank you for everything that you will do for our peoples, for your peoples. Some is struggling. Some is figuring it out, and some is on their way, but we give you thanks. And I also want to say, my God, I also want to say, for the ones that still left and their loved ones is gone due to an addiction, keep them in your heart. That's what I do. I thank God for every storm. We thank God for every struggle. You know, we thank God for our determination to want to get better, do better, see clearly. I thank God for allowing us just for today. I thank God for opening doors that we thought were closed, and God is good. So, you know, on Fridays, I always ask the God of my understanding to give me clarity on what we're going to talk about tonight. And like I said, everybody got a story. Everybody got a testimony of how God has delivered them off of drugs and alcohol. But we still have to remember it's a disease. It's a disease that can surface and come up at any given time. And I'm gonna remind you that even though we feeling good and everything might seem to be right, but we have to remember it's a disease. And the only way that we can figure it out is just don't use. Don't use no matter what. No matter what happens, do not use drugs, alcohol, fentanyl, weed, Adderall, pills, heroin. All of it is a drug. And the drug purpose is to distract us, is to take over, is to claim its territory on an individual so they can't figure it out. And the reason why I say when you come into a recovery, when I came into recovery, and I want to talk about what I seen and how I figured it out, And why must I continue to figure things out? Is because the storm, we was in a storm. And let me tell you, when we in a storm, sometimes the storm gets so bad, we just don't see clearly. We just don't see our way out. We see what the enemy want us to see. But I know the God of my understanding have touched a lot of peoples all over the world, all 52, all over the world. Somebody is dealing with addiction. Somebody is struggling, trying to find their way. Somebody just can't get it together. Somebody ain't figured out where they belong, where they going, and what they need to do to get off of drugs and alcohol. But let me tell you something. When we figuring it out, we go through some changes. We go through some changes because we keep bouncing back. We keep on saying we're going to stop, don't stop, and we keep going back. But all this week I've been going to meetings. And let me tell you why I know that people's figured it out. I've seen friends of Narcotics Anonymous. I watched them, 3 decades of being clean, and you've been around other addicts, and you remember how they were still struggling to stay clean and continue to clean, and they had habits. We had bad habits. I've seen some people like me couldn't keep a job. I've seen some people like me come in there fighting women's or men's. Women's fighting men's. I've seen people that got homeless. I've seen people that couldn't pay their rent. I've seen people that their body was infected with health problems. So when I say we finally figured it out, we finally figured it out because now you can see the proof. Okay, what is the proof? The proof is we didn't use today. The proof is we maintain going to meetings. The proof is we turn our lives over to the care of God as He understood it. The proof is we ain't in a dark place no more. You get it? We are not in a dark place no more. Well, why do you say that, Renee? Because see, the dark place that I was in, I knew you had to be in. Hey, Tim. I knew you had to be in. When we come into a place of recovery, we come into a place of understanding, making decisions, having a clear mind, dealing with our own self-centeredness, and that's why when God gave me this title this morning, we finally figured it out. And we did something about it. When we do something about a situation, like if we get sick, we go to the doctor. If our baby gets sick, we take them to the doctor. If we are getting evicted, we try to come up with the money so we can get our place. We figured it out. We figured it out and did something about it. Everybody sometimes is slow paced. Some people come in fast paced. I came in slow. Hey, Robin. Hey, Esther. And Tim. Good to see y'all. I love y'all. So the title was we finally figured it out and did something about it. How do we know that everybody has figured it out? Hey, come on, Renee. Everybody. How do we know that everybody has figured it out? We show up for meetings. We all see each other. We all, we all do what the books and 12 steps of narcotics, tell us to do, working them steps. We get a sponsor. We start doing service work. We start a lifeline of recovery on the phone. We started taking care of ourselves. Now, that was me. And I know it was you because some of y'all look good. Some of y'all didn't look like you used to look. That's why I know we was figuring it out. So when we come into recovery, we don't know. I didn't know nothing about the disease of an addiction. I just took on everything to be my self-will, to do what I wanted to do, and keep using and keep hurting and keep repeating the same thing over and over again. You know, when I think about how God has kept us and how he knew that we was going to get to that point to where we had to figure some things out. You know, because our attitude was terrible. Our behavior was off the chain. Our understanding was none. All we did was use to live and live to use. That's what it seemed like when I was in my active addiction. But I came to an understanding that, you know, I kept trying to figure things out, but I wasn't doing nothing about it. You know, figuring things out means you doing some action work. It means that you finna put your foot down and find out how can you deal with this disease of an addiction. You know. And once I looked at it and I started dealing with my sponsor, and like she said, amongst many, we're going to find our stories in a lot of other people's. And a lot of other people's going to have different stories, but similarities. Only different, it's a different face. And I come to tell you that if you don't change within yourself, nothing is going to change. You know, because we got messed up. We got messed up. You hear me? We got messed up with them drugs, with the alcohol. And I started picking up habits that I didn't even know was an addiction. Couldn't stop using. How many of y'all been to a point to where you stood over a toilet seat? Come on, Renee. Over a toilet seat. Throwing up. High as hell. And said, God, if you just help me, I promise I'm going to get myself together and I will stop. I will not drink. I will not use. I will not pop pills. If you just give me another chance. That was me. That was me. Crying, sick, confused, desperate. To find and figure out something that I've been missing. Hey, Karma. Figuring out something I've been missing. I've been in the storm too long. We become the storm. You know, people say when a storm comes, you can't hardly see. Well, it was plenty of days that we couldn't see. All we was doing was trying to figure it out. Figure out why I can't stop using. Figure out why I keep hurting myself over and over and over again. And nothing is changing. Why do we accept the pain? Why do we accept the pain of living in misery and not really counting our blessings? See, it was a blessing that I came into recovery. Because it was a blessing when I came into recovery. Because the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous, it all taught me that we had to belong to something to get an understanding. So when we go in treatment and have to stay in treatment, I know I did 28 days straight. I was trying, we were trying to figure it out. I mean, it was a point in time of our life, I just gave up. Some of us just give up. You know, I was saddened by Robert Jr. I was saddened when I heard this lady dealing with her son through the addiction. And he wanted to take his life. And I've been praying for his mother because she was doing everything she could to save her son. But he passed. He couldn't figure it out. And that's what happens when we can't figure out something that's got us bound and crippled, and we stay in it too long. You know, when I talk about my son, his struggles through drugs, I need to talk about my son. See, the addiction can take a good person and make them seem like they're the worst person. You hear me? That addiction make you seem like don't nobody even want to see you. They don't even want you to be around. They hate to see you coming. You know, that's the disease of an addiction. And on top of us using drugs, and on top of us couldn't figure it out, we was in the midst of watching other people's look at us like we was contaminated. They didn't want to be in the same room with us. We was called all kind of names. Our kids looked at us differently. Our friends talked about us. I had plenty of tears when I was in that storm. It seemed like I couldn't figure it out. But I had a mission. You had a mission. And the mission was to go through the storm, to see what was going on. You know, in order for us to feel good, feel different, we had to go through the storm. And when I was figuring it out, I knew I was picking up bad habits. I knew that if I didn't stop, I wouldn't be here on this broadcast. I knew that. But in the midst of figuring out, let's talk about what we had to go through. Hurt peoples. You hear me? Hey, Miss Hattie. Hurt peoples. So when we finally figured it out, I started seeing a little joy that I had lost. Couldn't stop drinking. Pissy drunk. Couldn't stop using. In my life, when they say your life become unmanageable, they ain't never lied. Because if somebody had told me that I would sleep on the floor or sleep in the garage, if somebody told me I would walk 8 to 10 miles to steal so I can get another hit or a drink, if somebody had told me that I would hurt somebody that I truly love because the addiction had me, and for people that didn't understand the addiction, we can relate because while we was in the addiction, we didn't understand the addiction. So for other people that never used or never did drugs, they never knew what an addict really was. An addict is a person that lets something come into their lives and they can't stop using. They can't stop using. And they come and it just swift you. Like everything was fine. Sipping a drink every now and then, smoking some weed, doing some heroin, doing some cocaine. But the peoples I was around doing it never told me about addiction. Craving, I want some more. I do what I have to do to get it. I stoop as low as you want me to stoop, just so I can get high again. Through the midst of the storm, we lost somebody. We lost ourselves. And when I say we lost ourselves, because it was all about the drugs. It was all about the drugs. It wasn't about my kids. It wasn't even about a place to stay and lay my head. Because see, an addict can lay their head anywhere. It wasn't about me getting it together. It was about me getting some more drugs. So when I say we lost our way, and you know the crazy part about it, y'all, when we lost our way, other people was walking all over us because we was up under the influence of drugs and alcohol. So now they take advantage of us, which we already taken advantage of ourselves. But now the people that say they love us and the people that we are around is taking advantage of us because they know we on something that we can't stop using. We can't stop taking. And that's another painful place and another painful part of me talking tonight. Nobody came to us and said, come on, let me live. Come on, let me give you a hand. Come on, nobody came to say, I'll take you to a meeting. Because I can tell you why. Because we become isolated. And in the midst of being isolated, we figure we don't need nobody. We figure we got it all figured out. We figured that, long as I'm getting high and ain't hurting nobody else, these are the lies we tell ourselves in the midst of our addiction. I'll get better. I'll stop using. Oh God, how many times have I threw up, or how many times did I ask you to forgive me and I kept going? I forgot the promises that I made, God. I forgot about the times when I had to crawl to get into bed, to lay down, because I was so high thinking I'm finna die. My lowest point, I heard somebody say it, Carmen, my lowest point is when I stole from my mama. My lowest point is when I crawled on that floor because the money my mama had that she was going to give us anyway, she took too long. And when I look back over my life right now, that was the lowest point. Because I had never stole from a person that birthed me, took care of me, who helped me, who loved me. And when I saw the look on her face, I knew I had a problem. See, other stuff can happen to us and we still think we ain't got no problem. Until reality hit, until we have a ruling awakening from the person that we hurt. When my mother looked at me, I felt this little. I felt so little. Thank God that she kept on loving us. Thank God for mothers that didn't give up on us. or fathers that didn't give up on us in our addiction, because they knew that wasn't us. They knew we was up under the influence of drugs and alcohol. They knew something was wrong. For the ones that couldn't figure it out, what was going on with us, they saw the change. They knew something was going on. But figuring out was a storm. Trying to figure it out, knowing we had a problem, knowing we don't want to stop, knowing that we don't want to deal with the consequences of our own actions, so we just get high. Knowing that the storm is going to get harder and harder if we don't find a way through the storm. So when we figure it out, we can still be using it, still trying to figure it out. Because I know I was using it, still was trying to praying my way out. I thought praying my way out would help me instantly. I kept on praying, though. I told you I was a praying addict. I would be literally high. Literally high. And praying. And I thought God didn't hear me. But when you think God don't hear you, He's behind the scene of working it out, getting you to help, sending some people your way so you can get yourself together and start figuring some things out. At my lowest point, at our lowest point, we didn't care. That's why I know that addiction is bad. People can't tell me nothing. It's bad. I wouldn't wish that on nobody. Promise to God, I wouldn't wish addiction on nobody. Because see, now that we can see clearly, we see the pain on others because we lived in that pain. We was that pain. That's why I knew that God was going to hear our call. And I'm so glad He did. Because we all have a purpose. And the purpose wasn't to use drugs and alcohol. That wasn't the purpose. The purpose was to find our purpose. So when I came into recovery, I just did not understand how a good person can turn out to be so bad. I didn't get it. I had got to the point that I didn't even want nobody to look at me. I couldn't even stand to look at myself. That's why I stayed high. I stayed drunk. I isolated. I went through changes without telling nobody. I was hurt. I didn't know how to deal with all the other issues that was in me, that had surfaced in me, and that I didn't do nothing with it. So I let pain come on top of pain. I let pain keep on building up, and I still hadn't figured nothing out. I still hadn't figured out that the seeds of an addiction is to destroy us, is to hurt us, and to keep us at rock bottom so we can never reach the top again. And you know, I just didn't understand the addiction, you know, and the reason I know that a lot of people have figured it out, because I saw friends that is now my friends in Narcotics Anonymous program. I saw them coming in. I saw them coming in. And I saw them still with some behaviors. They wasn't using. They was trying to figure it out. They had stopped using, but their behaviors and their characters hadn't changed yet. A lot of them was jumping on women. A lot of them was still trying to lie and manipulate. A lot of them was still con artists. A lot of people was still manipulating, coming in. but they hadn't used. Because I watched them. They had some behaviors off the chain. But we all knew that we were recovering. We all knew that. We all was in this thing together. So when we would go to meetings, I see people bust out and wanted to fight and yelling and cussing at people. We all was in that same atmosphere. I watched people grow up. I watched people change their lives. I watched people go back to school. I watched people get a job. I watched people turn their life over. I watched people stop jumping on women. I watched people stop homonging. I watched people start having a little light that wasn't shining before. Because I know my light wasn't shining. Because when I came in, I was in a dark place. I was in a place of confusion. I was in a place where I hated myself. Shame, disappointed, outdone. But I kept praying. I kept talking to God and telling God, God, please remove of this addiction. Remove this taste out of my mouth. Remove the thoughts of me wanting to even pick up again. And even when I came into recovery, that was still my prayer to God. God, I don't never want to go back to them drugs. I don't never want to be the person that we used to be. I don't never want to be little myself and think I'm nothing when I'm everything. It had got to the point to where, I just didn't care no more. And I don't want to, listen to me very well, I don't want to ever be in a place where I don't care no more. Because don't caring, when you don't care about nothing. You don't care about other people's feelings. You don't care about your feelings. You don't care about having no joy. You don't care about having no peace. You don't care about where you lie. You don't care who you hurt. You don't care where you lay. You don't care how you talk. You don't care what you say. You don't care how you look. You don't care how you smell. You don't care. You don't care. But we was trying to figure it out. And then it got to a place where I was tired. When you get to a place and you tired, then you start figuring it out. You start figuring out, I can't keep running. You start figuring out, I got to change, God. God, help me. Help myself. I can't help nobody else until I help myself. God, I got kids. God, I need you more than I ever needed anybody. Because only God was going to bring me out of this. Because I had to deal with some issues that I had been carrying for years. And when you carrying deep issues, you're going to need a God of your understanding. You're going to need somebody to know when you are trying to figure something out. Can he help you while you in that midst of figuring it out? People come in here, you can't play with recovery. Anybody to tell you I don't play with recovery. If you want to see me show my true colors, see, I know what the alcohol did to me. I know what the partying did to me. I know what the manipulating and lying, trying to be somebody that I'm not, trying to act like I got it all. I'm trying to act like I got it all figured out. I ain't had nothing figured out. All I knew is that I couldn't stop using. Go to bed, using. Wake up, using. That was my partner. My partner, sick as a dog, throwing up, asking God to have mercy on me because I think I'm dying because I done took some bad dope, or I done drank too much until I can't see, I can't walk, pissed on myself, messed on myself. Oh yeah, I'm going to tell you the truth, because that's what happens. I ain't trying to hide nothing. When I get on here about recovery, it's about the truth. It ain't about trying to, be perfect. Try not to tell you my little crazy moments. It's all about telling the truth so it can reach somebody. Because we all been there. And I done met a lot of people that's still struggling right now. And I said, God, when is it going to stop? When are you going to stop sending me people and bringing them my way, and they struggling and they need some help? He said, you were struggling. What makes you any better than them? Sometimes God have to get a little nasty with you to wake you up. Don't ever think you too high where you can't help somebody at their low point. Some people's coming here and think, oh man, we get clean. We start figuring it out. We got it together. And then all of a sudden we start looking at other people, looking at newcomers. Newcomers is the best thing that ever happened to me. Newcomers help me know that it's still doing what it's doing out there. Newcomers let me know that I still got to be aware that the disease of an addiction ain't went nowhere. All I know is I can't use for today. So when I see newcomers come in, man, my heart get overwhelmed. Because see, I take this personally. I don't know about nobody else. But if you've been through what I've been through, if you went through the many storms I went through, and you finally came out, and you came out alive, and you came out to see a year after year after year you still here, that's enough to be grateful for. Because a lot of my friends ain't here. A lot of my friends is gone. And I'm so glad that I figured it out. Said we finally figured it out and did something about it. What we do about it, y'all? Oh, let me tell you what. Let me tell you what I did about it. Took myself to treatment, put the cotton in my mouth, and I started hearing. See, I didn't have no answers. I wasn't blurring stuff out like some of them people's coming in thinking they got all the answers. Why are you here? You wouldn't be here if you had the answers. So I started figuring it out. Went in treatment. Outpatient, 90 days. And I wasn't ready to move from Sterling White. So I stayed an extra 2 to 3 months, I believe. It got good to me. So that meant I'm figuring out some stuff. And after a year, I got me a sponsor. Some people say, oh, you ain't supposed to wait a year. You don't work my program. You don't know the trust issues that I had when I came in. I had to do everything slowly because I didn't want to use no more. This time when I made God a promise, I kept it. And the most grateful part about it is that when I made a promise, it meant something to me this time. How many promises did we make to God and didn't keep? So when I got on my knees and when I started crying and bawling, and I promised him, it was something in me that knew I was going to be okay. It was something in me that I had awakened, that my promise this time means something. Why did it mean something? Because I'm broken. The drugs and the alcohol, the addiction broke me. Not mentally and emotionally and physically. It broke me. Brain was erupted. Couldn't think. And when I just think about that little part, makes me so grateful. Because as we was figuring it out, that means that now we can start seeing clearly. So when I went into treatment, when I came back out and I went into inpatient, anybody will tell you I was listening. I ain't trying to open my mouth. I'm hurt. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to release all this garbage I got in me. Everything that was done to me and everything I'd done to somebody else. I was in a place in my life that I needed to be still. And in order to be still, you have to be in the midst of knowing why you are being still. I was being still because I needed God to help me get through some things. And I knew that God could only do it. I knew that he was going to bring me out. And how was I figuring out? Because I would get up with a new destination of where I was going and when I was coming back. How did you figure it out, Renee? I get up and I go to a meeting. I go to outpatient every day, 5 days a week. They told me to do 90 days and 90 meetings. I said, who do that? What person do that? 90 meetings, 90 days. I did. I did. 90 meetings, 90 days. Everything that they brought to me, everything that was suggested to me, everything that can enlighten me and make me better, I took it. My life, our lives, my life was on the line. Was I going to get it this time? Was I going to break God's promises that I made to God? No. The only way you don't do that is when you've been broken. When your life had become unmanageable. When you didn't even know which way you was going, left or right. And so how was we figuring it out? Figuring it out. Not using. Stop using. Just for the day. Then another day came. I didn't use. Then another day came. I didn't use. Now it's a week. I didn't use. Now it's a month. 30 days. I didn't use. 60 days. I'm still here. Pinch myself, Renee. I haven't used. How did I figure it out? 60 days. How did I figure it out? 90 days. How did I figure it out? Stick and stay. Stick and stay. Stick and stay. A year. They was giving out chip. Whoever celebrating a year, can you please get up? Man, I jumped out of that seat so fast. I flipped and fell in front of everybody. Do you think I care? Did you think I care because I fell? I'm running for my life. I did this thing. And if I can do it a year, then I can do it another year. And another year. And another year. Man, the sky is unlimited with me now. I'm figuring out some things. I'm figuring out how to talk to somebody else about the situation the reason why I've been using. I figured out I can get me a sponsor now. It's a year. I've been watching. I'm figuring it out. I've been seeing some behaviors in the meetings for a year. Taught me what I wasn't going to do, what I wasn't going to say, and who I wasn't going to be around. I'm figuring it out. And then all of a sudden I get me a good sponsor. I've been watching her for a year. I needed somebody tough. I needed somebody that's going to tell me the truth. I needed somebody that wasn't going to judge me, that wasn't going to think harsh of me. I needed to get a foundation with somebody else that had a foundation, that can lay the foundation out for me. My own personal sponsor. I didn't want nobody to know my sponsor. Nobody ain't got no business knowing my sponsor. I wanted that to be the best thing of my recovery. Something personal, something new. I wanted to have everything lined up personal for me. How did I figure it out? After a year, Renee, what you do? After a year, kept going to meetings, kept crying. The urges was bad, but I didn't use. I used to sit in my car and cry because I wanted to go back when pain got too rough. I wanted to sit back and go back and use because I knew that I was in trouble. Then I started thinking, it's just a thought. And the only way it's a thought, if I don't use. Long as I don't pick up, I won't use. How am I figuring it out? Learning from the counselors. How when you been had them drugs putting in your body, the dependency, the body needs the drug. And every day you don't use, it's still running around in your body because it wants some. It want to get crazy. It need to get in your body so it can turn your whole life around again and make you not love yourself again and make you not want to be around nobody again and let people talk to you like they crazy and talk about you again. And it wants you to not love yourself. It don't want you to have no joy. It don't want you to have no peace. It wants you to be under the control of the drug. How did I figure it out? Kept going to meetings. Kept going to meetings. Boy, how do I figure it out? Boy, I got, oh, God, thank you. I start feeling good. I start being all over. I want everybody to see me, but I wanted the right people to see me. I ain't trying to go in my old neighborhood. I ain't trying to convince nobody that I have changed. I ain't trying to do none of that. I just wanted to get to a meeting. I just wanted to see some familiar places. Some that's been way cleaner, a lot cleaner than I had. I hung around the old timers. They can teach me something. They can teach me about this disease of an addiction. They can teach me that I ain't got to struggle no more. They can teach me that I can believe in myself and work the steps and understand the steps. I needed to be around some stronger people than I was because I was still weak coming in, and I didn't want to stay weak. I wanted to get some control. I wanted to know the difference from right and wrong. I wanted to know to do something about when my thinking sometimes ain't my friend. My thinking sometimes ain't my friend. How did I figure it out? Now it's 2 years. I never forget what I never forget what my counselor Sterling White told me. He said, Renee, it's time for you to go spread your wings. He said, it's time now. You got it. You got it, my sister. Go spread your wings. I'm like, what you say, Sterling White? Go spread your wings. That's all I could hear every day. Spread your wings. See, sometimes it's what people say to you that can make things happen a little quicker. Go spread your wings. Go spread your wings, my sister. He said, you finna do something. Just them words. Just them words have carried me all this far. He saw something in me that was great and good. He watched me for almost a year in them cheers. Back and forth. Back and forth. How do we figure it out? Start taking suggestions. Start understanding the addiction. Start working the steps. I knew I was on my way, but I still didn't want to move fast. I kept it slow. Oh, did I make some bad decisions coming in? Yeah. Did I get into some bad relationship because I was still looking for love in the wrong places? Yeah. Did I still feel like I wasn't good enough? Yeah. But I was figuring it out. We was figuring it out. Everybody on here had to figure out something. You had to know where you was going and where you had to get to. Because recovery teaches you, you got to figure it out. You got to get it together. If you come in here playing games and doing that Russian, playing games coming in and out, I didn't want to see that because I saw that too much. I wasn't finna go through that. I was already beat up when I came in, and I wasn't gonna come in and beat myself up again after I'd have made God a promise. See, I got to remember what Sterling White said to me, and I also got to remember the promise that I made to God, and I said I'd never use again. I meant that. No matter what happens, no matter what came into my life that caused me pain. No matter what, can't use. Why? I can't smoke no weed when I get stressed out. I can't just take a puff, no matter what. I can't take a drink when it seems like I'm losing it in recovery, no matter what. I can't take a drink, can't use when I bury my mother, no matter what. Oh, God, you are my best friend, because I wouldn't have never thought I would have made it when my mother died. I wouldn't have never thought I would have made it when my son died. I had to bury the two people that I truly love, but I can't use, because if I use, then I'm going to die. Because, see, I wasn't just a typical person that'll use and come back. I wasn't that kind of person. When I use, I'm in the midst of the darkness. I do whatever I got to do to get low, to get drugs, to get alcohol, pop my pills. So I knew it couldn't be no more. I knew it. It couldn't be no more. When I made God a promise, I was too scared to even use. Now I know why I made God a promise. Because I was too scared if I broke my promise with God this time, that he was going to whoop my tail real good. So I'm so glad, God, that I made you that promise. Because I done went through hell and back. Even in recovery. But I'm still figuring it out. Now, I already know I can't use no matter what. I already know that. I don't need nobody to tell me that. Because if I didn't know, I would have done use. I know I can't use. God been so good to me, I never want to use. I didn't know recovery could be so good. I did not know that we could find ourselves better than before. It's such a good feeling to wake up knowing that you got a plan. To wake up knowing you got a destination of where you going. I got to have a destination in my life because when I was using it was no destination. Wherever I end up is where I end up. Wherever you found me, that's where I was. Whoever bed I was in, I don't even want to talk about that. God was covering me all in the midst of my corruption. In the midst of me getting high, in the midst of doing the things that I did, he still had love for us. Every last one of y'all. Everybody who ever been an addict, God loves you. He'll never give up on you. He don't want none of his children to be using. Because he know you up under the enemy when you using drugs and alcohol. How did I figure it out? Open up recovery houses. God started dealing with me. I mean, I didn't know that recovery, people say, was recovery born? No, the heck it's not. Recovery is the best thing that happened to us in recovery. I'm figuring it out. Open up 14 recovery houses. I'm figuring it out. I had 5 bands and then got 7. I was figuring it out. The sky was unlimited. I knew that anything that I wanted or touched that I can get, that God was going to give it to me. I figured it out. I'm loving me now. What? I'm combing my hair. I'm washing my butt. My house is magnificently clean. I know how to match clothes. I don't want to just put on anything. I changed the way I look, the way I smile, what I say, how I talk. I'm figuring it out. I change who I'm in the midst of, what peoples is around me. I'm figuring it out. Taking these peoples to all their meetings. My own transportation business. I was a self-preneur, black woman strong that was figuring it out. God was giving me the messages and I was accepting it and I was figuring it out. While you figuring it out and people see you clean, some people don't like that. Some people want what you got but just don't know how to say, I want to be like her, or I want to do like her, or I want to be like him. I want to do like him. They get mad. They talk about you. Get jealous of you. So I think people liked me better when I was using. Too bad. I done figured it out. I don't care what you think. I don't care who don't like me. See, that's why I got high. Because you hurt my feelings. Because you belittled me. Because you made me think I was worthless. You told me that I wasn't going to be nothing. You told me, yeah, I'll see you again. I'm figuring it out. Hey, Brenda. I'm figuring it out. So now, the sky's unlimited. Own transportation business, 14 recovery houses for men's and women's. Renee, Rainbow, Transitional Living. I was amazing. I had God wrote all over me. And they finally came out with a shirt that said, "Don't mess with me." God tell them, don't mess with me. Because I found something that I had lost. And that was joy. It was peace. It was understanding. I don't have to be in denial no more. I can figure it out. We can figure it out. No matter what situation you in, long as you can figure it out, God gonna get you out of it. Because he's always working in the back scene. Well, we can't see him, but we know he there. I do. Let me speak for me. I do. I got a connection. I got a connection with God. I know he gonna be there. Because he ain't never left me when I was in my midst of my mess. When I was in the midst of using. Come on, Renee. When I was in the midst of hurting myself. And you think I ain't grateful? You think every day that I wake up and I realize that I haven't used, that I'm not grateful? Do you think when I walk in a meeting and I see people just like me, I ain't grateful? Do you think when I take somebody to a meeting and get in the midst of holding the conversation that I ain't grateful? You ain't never been an addict to know how grateful you are. Become an addict. Become at your lowest. Become where you don't even want to live. That's bad, ain't it? To where you don't even want to live. That's bad, ain't it? To where you don't care no more. That's bad, ain't it? But I was figuring it out. I knew I wasn't using because of the promise I made God. The promise that I made the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous, I would never use again. Long as I got some steps to guide me and help me and to show me the way. I'm figuring it out. And I did something about it. When situations come in your life, figure it out. You don't ever have to be the situation. Be better than the situation. We all can figure out some things in our lives. Because we get clean, because we not using no more, don't mean that we gonna have some storms to come into our life. But we gotta figure it out. We got to figure it out. You know, this is a thing that when we get clean and this disease of an addiction don't want us to figure it out. But I found something good in figuring it out. It helps you figure out the next situation and the next situation. And every time that you don't use while you figuring it out, in that first situation, the second situation, the third situation, you ain't got to ever, never use again. Never use again. I never go back to that pain, to that misery, to that dungeon, to that broken person I was. I'll never do that. I'm here to stay. Till death do me part, I'm here to stay. I'm connected to the NA Anonymous. It stole my heart. NA, The Narcotics Anonymous program stole my heart. Because it told me no matter what happens, I ain't never got to use no more. So guess what? We figured it out. Because some of y'all that's on here right now, I know y'all figured it out. Because I've seen y'all. I've seen y'all figure it out. And I'm proud of you. Brenda Watkins, Miss Maddie, Robin, Tim. We ain't perfect. We ain't like we used to be. But be better than we was. And don't let nobody tell you no difference. I love me. I make me shine. I love me. I'm responsible. Check this out. I'm responsible for my own joy. And so are you. You can't let nobody give you joy. That's something you got to get in yourself. You can let somebody steal your joy. But ain't nobody stealing my joy. Because I worked too hard to get it. I worked too hard. I figured some things out that I didn't know that I could figure it out. And that's what the recovery taught me. How to figure out things. In the midst of trouble. In the midst of confusion. In the midst of the storm. I can still figure it out. And the one thing that helps me is I don't use. I can see clearly. I can think clearly. I know the difference. I know my triggers. I know my thinking can take me backwards. I know I love me. You must love yourself for you to instill the joy in yourself. Can't nobody take my joy away. The way God worked on me and the way He's still working on us. He woke y'all up this morning. Somebody didn't wake up. I got recovery. Bring me some tissue paper. I got some friends that didn't wake up. So I'm grateful. Yeah, I get teary-eyed. Yeah, I get joyous. Yeah, I can't be still when I think about how God delivered me off of drugs and alcohol. It wasn't just a 12-step of Narcotics Anonymous. It was the God of my understanding working through the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous. Don't get it twisted. Don't you dare get it twisted. It was God. Nobody but God that took me to the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous. So yeah, I'm grateful. Okay, y'all, you know what? Thank y'all so very much. I'm going to cut it short because I done went over. And I believe we on step 5 for Sunday. You know, I love this part, working the steps, because it makes me study. It makes me know what I'm in for. And every time is different. I admit it to God and to ourselves and to to God and to another of the second natures of our own. I believe we on step 5. We admit it to God and to ourselves, to another human being, the second natures of our own. I have to go back and look next time. I'll write it down. But that's what step we on. If I'm not, I'm sorry. It would be step 6. And but anyway, thank you. Keep God in y'all life. I'm telling you, He won't never give up on you. He'll always love you. He'll always be your friend. He'll always have a conversation with you. He'll always carry you when you don't think you can carry yourself. I can always tell you that because I've been there, done that. And God talks to me. You know, I feel like I'm special. I really do. When you got a connection with God, and you done had your ruling awakenings, and you know who God is, you know who woke you up, you know who delivered you, you know who carried you, when you just know that He was the part of you figuring it out, and we did something about it. Every addict that's in a meeting figured it out. That's why we show up at a meeting. I guess I'm going to go to this. They got a speakathon, I believe on 24th and North. Robin or anybody, I think I saved it, but if I didn't, send me the address. It's a speakathon with plenty of food on 24th and North. I believe it's Saturday. And I'm going. See, when I'm sick, I don't go nowhere. When you get a kidney, you have to be careful. And I've been sick for almost 4 weeks. Pneumonia. God, I figured it out. God, once again, came in and healed me. I thank y'all. If ain't nobody else told you, always know that Renee loved you. I don't have to see you every day. I don't have to talk to you every day. My prayers carries the message. Be nice and kind to somebody. Love whoever don't love you. In spite of. Be an example to the newcomer. Be an example to another individual. Can't nobody tell you nothing bad about Renee. Nobody. I was in the storm too long to be the same person that came in. I ain't never going back that way. It was ugly, miserable. Wasn't myself, didn't like myself, didn't care who I hurt. I hurt me over and over and over again. I found a new way to live, y'all. Robin, Carmen, Brenda, Tim, and whoever else might be watching. When you turn your life over and you can look back from where you was and where you at today, that's a reason to stay clean. Because I want some more of what I can't see. The sky is unlimited for all y'all. I love you. See you Sunday. I believe we're on step 5. Don't hold it to my heart if we ain't. I have to check. But from now on, I know by checking my old message. Be nice and kind. I love y'all. Be safe. Tomorrow's the last day of Black History Month. I love Black History Month. And do something nice and kind for someone today. Have a good night. Have a good night. Have a good night.